And now, the After the Bell podcast with Bill Neville and Lee Morgan.
This is episode 2 of After the Bell podcast. I'm Bill Neville alongside Lee Morgan. Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee in hand. Yes, Dunkin' Donuts. The After the Bell podcast runs on Dunkin'. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Nudge,
Advertising,
nudge,
nudge, exactly. For all those who listened to last week's episode, I just wanted to start this week's show by saying a huge thank you to everyone who took the time to check out our first podcast. Both Lee and I were tracking numbers all day after we went live around 2 o'clock last Wednesday, and we were overwhelmed to have had over 100 listens on YouTube in 24 hours. That was just completely mind-blowing to me. Word spread quickly. We were super excited about it. All your listens and the positive reviews and responses on Twitter from fans that gave us the motivation to continue this endeavor and even expand endeavor. A word from Johnny, whatever his name is, Johnny Laurinaitis.
Yeah. It's Johnny.
So for those of you who haven't heard, or for those of you who have, there is an all-new atbwrestling.com. I created the website the other day. We both submitted some content for it, and it is now live. Once again, that's atbwrestling.com. On our site, there's a page where you can listen to the show directly. There's links to our personal Twitter pages, our YouTube channel. There's a bio page where you can read a little bit about each of one of us. And eventually, Lee will have a fantastic blog for all you guys to read. Now, listening back to our podcast last week, which I was very proud of, and Lee was as well, there's one regret that I had, and it's not having some sort of introduction of ourselves. We kind of just ran right into Royal Rumble right away. So here we go. My name is Bill Neville. I'm 26 years old. I was born, raised, and currently reside in Milton, Mass. Up until about a month ago, I was the director of operations at Wollaston Golf Club. So essentially, you could say I was the Kane of Wollaston Golf Club. I also work in the promotions department over at 93.7 FM WEI in Boston. I do some public address announcing for a bunch of sports teams. I do for the Boston Breakers of the National Women's Soccer League, the Manchester Monarchs of the American Hockey League, which is the minor league affiliate of the Los Angeles Kings, Stonehill College, Harvard University, and a couple of other things. I became a diehard wrestling fan around the age of, 10 or so. Right, pretty much at the beginning of the Attitude Era, just as Stone Cold was kind of created. My first event live was WrestleMania 14 at the then Fleet Center, which is now known as TD Garden in Boston. I've been to just about every event in the Boston area since 2004, with the only exception being the 2008 Survivor Series, which I heard was terrible anyway. There's something addicting about WWE live events, and if you haven't been, both Lee and I will tell you it's a hell of a show.
It's better than watching it live on TV.
It's 100% better. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you'll truly enjoy the spectacle that WWE can put on live. So, Lee, how about a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm 22 years old. I was born, raised, and reside in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Wow, we all stayed in our birthplace.
Right? I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah. Roots.
I work at Hot Topic.
They sell wrestling gear there.
Pretty
Perfect.
cool. Yeah, we just got in a bunch of new wrestling gear. You should probably check that out.
Definitely.
My love of pro wrestling came from my two older brothers, obviously. It was always on the TV, so I had to watch it because I could not get to a remote because I was 4.
It was a struggle.
Yeah, the struggle of that. My first wrestling event that I remember watching was the 1995 Royal Rumble.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have a pretty good memory when it comes to wrestling.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm 5 years older than you, and you started watching 2 years before I did.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, two older brothers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep, you're right.
And it was always on. Let's see. HBK has always been my favorite, and probably still, he will always be my favorite. First wrestling event I went to was an indie event. They don't have them in Quincy anymore, which I'm really bummed
Over at the
about.
Armory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget who was in the matches, but ever since then, I started reading articles and magazines about some indie wrestlers, and then my love for WWE Pro Wrestling just grew.
Perfect. That's what we needed to know. That's what the fans need to know about you. They want to get inside your head a little bit.
Well, they can just read the rest of the
too.
host bio on that.
You can visit atbwrestling.com and click on the host page to read the rest of Lee's little blurb.
Hint, hint.
That's a cheap plug. Anyway, that brings us to a new feature that we're going to start this week, and it's the ATB poll question of the week. This week's poll question, be sure to tweet your answer at us at ATB Wrestling, and be sure to use the hashtag ATBPoll. That's ATBPOLL. The results will be revealed on next week's show. Some tweets are already coming in to the question this week, which Lee posted a little bit earlier. And the question was, who will be The Undertaker's eventual opponent at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans? Like I said, some tweets are already coming in, and the consensus right now seems to be that The Undertaker will be facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, which personally I do agree with. A couple other answers I figured we give some shout-outs and give some people their 5 seconds of fame. We say his name was Matt. That's at MONG82191. It's Matt. He says ATB poll Brock Lesnar. Our friends over at the WEI WrestleCast, hosted by Scott Sudikoff and Ben Kitchen, also said Brock Lesnar. Darcy Armstrong at DArm91 also says Brock Lesnar. Not Hanley at Non-Hanley says WWE Daniel Bryan. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. And one other one was Nate in Enbridge says Sting, which who knows what the situation with Sting is right now as far as the supposed WWE Legends contract. But I would put my mortgage of my future house on it that it won't be Undertaker and Sting at WrestleMania.
Won't be Sting. Next year, maybe. Not this year.
Possibly next year. But like we said in last week's broadcast, I just don't see Undertaker retiring before facing John Cena at WrestleMania. I think that's the be-all, end-all of Undertaker. I don't think Cena will win, but I think as far as believability, I think that John Cena would be the most believable opponent to possibly break the streak. I mean, CM Punk was pretty believable last year.
That was the main event.
It was the main event, 100%. And you and I were both there. We heard the crowd reactions. It simply was the main event. I mean, we'd seen John Cena and The Rock the year before that. That crowd was insane at WrestleMania 28. But at 29, it wasn't nearly as loud for the Rock and Cena match. But CM Punk, there was "This is awesome" chants. There was
once in a lifetime times 2.
Well, yeah. Well, apparently it's twice in a lifetime.
Maybe times 3.
God,
4.
I hope not. We don't need another Rock John Cena match.
No, we really don't.
So once again, we shout out a couple of you guys, but tweet your answer to who will be the Undertaker's eventual opponent at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans by tweeting at us using the ATB Wrestling handle and the hashtag ATBPoll. That's ATBPOLL. And once again, the results will be revealed on next week's show. Let's get going here on After the Bell podcast with our recap and analysis of SmackDown. All right, so that's a new little element there. We had the SmackDown theme playing. Just any little bit of audio pleases the people, and
it's a little catchy.
It's best for business.
It is best for business,
just like Triple H would say. All right, the first match on SmackDown was Antonio Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler. It's a great back and forth match. After the match, Dolph was interviewed on the WWE app, where some would say dropped a pipe bomb, and you never have seen this side of Dolph before. You've seen him saying that he's the best. He's so damn sick of being so damn sick. Just talking about himself, but you've never seen him in this element that he was in that night, and it was one of the more impressive shoot interviews I've ever seen. Take a listen.
Standing by backstage here at SmackDown in Toledo, Ohio with Dolph Ziggler. Dolph, unfortunately, he came up on the short end of the stick against Antonio Cesaro in that Elimination Chamber qualifying match. How do you feel?
Not exactly sure how I feel. I've my entire life, literally since I was 5 years old, I've done things that other people not only can't hang with me, they just can't do. I've been a winner. 5 years old, I started wrestling. I lost my first match, and I pretty much won ever since that. High school, college, you name it. And it's not just the athletic ability that I have. I have this thing known as the it factor, where you can strike up a conversation with anyone. You can step into something that's not your comfort zone. You can go on a media circus for 12 hours and you can still go to work on no sleep and go out there to the ring and do what you do better than anyone else in this business. And I know it sounds like I say it a lot because I do it every single night. I swear, every night! Every night! I deliver! I deliver! And what do I get for it? I get pulled aside and say, hey, don't be so good. Hey, you're not doing this right. You're doing this wrong. But you know what? I've seen Monday Night Raw. I've seen Friday Night SmackDown. I know what's right and what's wrong. And if everyone is in my head telling me what's wrong, I know that I am right. Everything I do is to become better, the best ever. And I'm not going to stop until I reach that point. And I don't know if I can continue doing this. Been told I'm a loser. I've been told I suck. I've been told I'm not tall enough. I've been told I'm too loud. I've been told I run my mouth backstage. You know why I run my mouth? Because if you can get in the ring with me, one person backstage, one person in the office, in the mailroom, a superstar, you name it, one person outdoes me in this business in any aspect, in the back, in the ring, at my house, I don't care. I will not be outshined.
So that was the one and only show-off, Dolph Ziggler.
That was pretty incredible.
That you don't see that from him every day. I mean, that was impressive. It was straight from the heart. You could tell he was obviously frustrated with how things were going in the WWE at the time. He's not getting the push that everyone wants him to give. But man, that was... And it was on the WWE app. I mean, if it's that good, you tape it and you put it on the air. None of this WWE app stuff. We were discussing before we went on the air here that neither one of us have really watched the WWE app during Raw. Mm-hmm. I mean, half the time you can't even find where to watch what you're going to watch. It's very tough to find. You open up the app. I mean, the only times I've ever opened up the app is looking at live event schedules and that kind of thing. But I've never... experienced the app that Michael Cole just relentlessly tells us to download.
How do you download that again?
I don't know, AJ. Why don't you tell me? That's a quick shot at AJ.
Even go over that.
AJ on her promo the other night was kind of subtly making fun of Michael Cole and how much he pushes the WWE app. I thought it was pretty funny. Next on SmackDown, we had the Shield promo. Lee, take it away.
All right. So if you watch SmackDown, you would probably laughing at this whole promo in the ring. If you weren't, then maybe you should watch it again.
And again, and again, and again.
And again, and again, and again, and again.
Because it was that damn good.
All right. So Dean Ambrose starts off saying stuff about how Roman Reigns eliminated so many people in the Royal Rumble and asks Roman Reigns, did you think that you were going to be champion at Elimination Chamber? Roman decides to get into Dean's face and says, quote unquote, like this. And then Seth breaks them apart.
Seth is always the peacemaker.
Yeah, he's kind of...
Him and that
I guess that's the
yellow
only
hair.
thing he can really do.
Pretty much.
Seth cuts a little promo on the Wyatt saying that they screwed them out of going to the Elimination Chamber, which is absolutely true. Dean says, if the Wyatts want a new world, we'll give them a new world. If the Shield isn't going to win the WWE Heavyweight Championship at Elimination Chamber, we'll do the next best thing, and we will wipe the Wyatt family off the face of the earth.
Wipe them.
Wipe them. Oh. And Wyatts consider that a challenge. What do you think about that one?
Interesting. I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it at Elimination Chamber. I don't think they'll have it in the Elimination Chamber. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
But I would imagine that this match is going to be so brutal that it's going to be making its way into the crowd, making its way up onto the stage, making its way.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All over the Target Center in Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
Covering every square inch, almost like a not a boiler room brawl, but similar to like the empty arena match between Rock and Mankind way back in the day on the what was it, Super Bowl Slam, or I forget what it was called.
I think it was
halftime
halftime
heat. That's what it was.
Halftime heat. Yes.
Halftime heat. But I see this match being absolutely brutal. It's on pay-per-view, so I mean it's not really PG per se. I think you're going to see a lot of blood in this match, especially from the Wyatts. I think I don't know. I think the Wyatts are going to come out on top because Dean is going to do something to screw over Roman Reigns somehow, because that's been a growing trend the last couple of weeks. It seems like Dean wants to be the head guy of the Shield again, like he once was.
He wants all the attention.
He is kind of an attention whore.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's Dean Ambrose.
The facial expressions tell the whole story. I mean, no one acts like that unless they want the camera on them 24/7. But that's pretty much all I have to really say about that. I expect a really good match at Elimination Chamber. I expect the Wyatt family to come out on top and the Shield to split. Roman Reigns going his own way towards the world title.
The fans already love him, so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not going to be in the Elimination Chamber for the chance to face Batista, because that's already filled with Randy Orton, John Cena, Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, Antonio Cesaro, spoiler alert, and Christian, spoiler alert. But I think Roman Reigns will most certainly be in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture within the next few months. So after that, after the Shield promo, we had Vicky Guerrero and Triple H showing up on SmackDown. Triple H with kind of a rare appearance. What happened there, Lee?
Triple H pretty much told the Shield to let it go, that it wasn't going to happen, that the Wyatts and the Shield weren't going to face off on SmackDown. He told Roman Reigns that it wasn't a request to let it go. Roman Reigns decides to step up to the plate, goes nose to nose with Triple H, saying, "I don't think you understand, Hunter. We're not asking for your approval." That's when the Roman Reigns chant starts.
And those are going to continue week to week to week to week. I mean, he's very over right now, and you can thank the Pittsburgh crowd at Royal Rumble for that.
Thank you, Pittsburgh.
Roman Reigns might owe his whole career to the Pittsburgh crowd back in January. Following Triple H and Vicky Guerrero, we had Fandango defeating Xavier Woods, which was quick.
Squash match.
Yeah.
Filler.
Exactly. I mean, even on a taped show, you need filler. Skipping right over that, we had Ryback defeating the Primetime Players.
Millions of dollars.
Well,
what's the last time
apparently
you
it's
say
$500,000 now.
$500,000.
Because Titus O'Neil grew visibly frustrated, never got in the match. There was about 2 minutes, and Darren got pinned in the middle of the ring. Titus was frustrated, said he came to WWE to become a winner, and quite obviously turned heel and turned on Darren, beat him up, tossed him around outside, bloodied his face, and just...
He needed a few stitches on his lip.
He did. I heard that too. So it looks like Darren Young is going to be getting some sort of a push, maybe similar to like a Biggie Langston type of push, where he's just this big body. He might become Intercontinental Champion, might become U.S. Champion. Maybe Dean will finally defend that U.S. Championship. How long has it been since he defended it?
October.
Since October.
Raw.
So 3 months. Well, 4 months, actually.
4, yeah.
4 months since Dean Ambrose has defended the title. I mean, between the Intercontinental and the United States Championship, it's almost a waste of leather at this point. I mean, if these titles aren't going to be defended, why even have them?
Just combine them.
And if you're going to continue to have all these stupid dance segments on Raw, and we'll get to that a little bit later because it was ridiculous, although it was the debut of Emma, which was fantastic.
Yes.
But there is absolutely no reason for these dance segments when you could have an Intercontinental title match, or you could have a U.S. title match. I mean,
Exactly.
you don't have to defend the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on Raw every week, but have some sort of title match on Raw every week, whether it be the U.S., the Intercontinental, the tag titles.
They at least need to put into fans' heads that they're actually feuding with somebody
Exactly.
for the championship.
Exactly. And even if it's like a fatal four-way with four guys instead of a
Exactly.
one-on-one, as long as the belts are being defended, that's all that really matters. The fans want to see it, and they're not seeing it. And that's why the titles have been kind of downgraded. I mean, the Intercontinental used to be one of the top titles in the business. I mean, you look back at all these documentaries with The Rock and Triple H and all these guys, and their first major title that they say that they won was the Intercontinental. And Jericho back in the day. I mean, it was a huge deal, but now it's just like it's almost like the Cruiserweight or the European champion or one of those garbage
European
belts
champion.
that used to be here.
That was a waste.
I mean, maybe even get rid of the U.S. title, period, and just have the Intercontinental have more meaning. And then you could always bring back the Cruiserweight belt and have Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio go after it. And who else would be in that class?
No one.
El Torito?
El Torito.
Well, maybe somebody like that. I don't know. I still don't get what they're doing with that. But after Ryback defeated Primetime Players and Titus O'Neil turned on Darren Young, we had Christian defeating Jack Swagger in a match where the winner was getting the 6th spot in the Elimination Chamber match. Christian, much like Batista minus all the heat, showed up for one episode, comes back, and all of a sudden he's in the title picture again. But Christian has always been a fan favorite. I mean, I'm a peep.
He's a really cool dude.
He is a cool dude. I'd like to see Christian to get a title run.
Just don't say one last match.
Yes, yeah.
And I will be okay.
He's got to stop saying that.
Yeah.
So Christian won the match with a frog splash off the top rope over Jack Swagger. Zeb Coulter was visibly pissed off, who is awesome, by the way. Every sign every week is just... It makes my day reading these signs. I laugh my ass off. So, like we said before, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Elimination Chamber match at Elimination Chamber now contains Randy Orton, John Cena, Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, Christian, and
Antonio Cesaro.
Antonio Cesaro.
My guy.
He is your guy. After Christian defeated Jack Swagger, we had Kofi Kingston defeating Damian Sandow in what was just about another squash match.
The only note I wrote on that was, match was 2 minutes, need I say more?
No. Moving on.
Exactly.
Cody Rhodes defeated Road Dogg, eventually leading to the steel cage match on Raw, which we'll get to very shortly. One of my favorite moments on SmackDown was when the Wyatt family calls out the Shield. And one quote I wrote down, and I think you wrote it down too, was when Bray said, quote unquote, "Be careful inviting the devil into your backyard because he may just like it and decide to stay."
Run.
Run, exactly. I was going to say that in my Bray Wyatt voice, but that just would have been really weird.
Do it.
No. We'll save the other impressions for other podcasts. We don't want to give it all away at once.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Yeah, got to keep some clothes on. So after the Wyatt family calls out the Shield, we had Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, and Rey Mysterio.
I have one thing to add about that
Sorry, go
Wyatt
ahead.
promo.
Yeah, go for it.
Luke Harper started to speak. And
yes,
he
he did.
said, "You reap what you sow. You three boys picked a beautiful hill to die on."
Oof.
It's a perfect quote. It should be on a T-shirt.
I'm sorry, but if Luke Harper says that to me, I'm
running.
shaking in my boots.
Yep.
and I'm running, just
Yeah,
like
Eric
Aaron Rowan says, run.
Run. There you go.
Anything else on that?
That was it.
On that promo? After that, we had Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, and Rey Mysterio versus The Shield. It was a fun back-and-forth match with one hell of a spear to Rey Mysterio at the end from Roman Reigns. It looks amazing when Roman Reigns spears a smaller guy. I mean, you saw what he did to Ziggler in the Royal Rumble.
He can do it perfectly.
He just, I don't know what it is, but it's so edge-like, and it's perfect.
He goes to a different place in his mind. He just hits it.
Exactly. What do you see, Randy Orton going to a different place?
Well, that's what...
He hears voices in his head?
Yeah. Edge said that he had to go to a different place in his head to hit spears.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Touche. All right, so that just about wraps it up for SmackDown. And now it's time to get into our recap and analysis of Monday Night Raw.
Tonight is the night, bright lights, high crowd, yeah, we need to throw down, everybody get loud. Tonight is the night, A-list, can't miss, when we burn it to the ground, everybody get down. Tonight is the night.
All right, so Monday Night Raw began with Randy Orton's music playing.
Shocker.
Yeah. We don't get the Raw theme too much anymore, so that's why we included it into the podcast.
Yes.
I mean, I do like that song.
Me
It
too.
debuted at the Raw 1000, I believe,
Yep.
if I remember right. Because my memory's not that good.
Okay.
But
Let's just
so
say it did.
okay, sure. So Randy Orton's music opens the show. Orton calls out Batista, or shall we say, Bootista.
Bootista. Hashtag Bootista.
Hashtag Bootista. See, you got a good memory. I called you out on that last week. He calls out Batista, saying that Orton is the main attraction of Raw, and out comes Triple H and Stephanie, the Authority. One thing we noticed about this opening segment was that there was very audible CM Punk chants over both Orton speaking and the Authority speaking. Let's go on a little tangent here and let's discuss this whole CM Punk thing. For a while, I thought it was a work. There's no way it's a work now.
No way.
There's absolutely no way. So, there's reports that WWE was confiscating signs last night, although
They were confiscating signs at NXT taping, too.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
That's not cool.
What was the what was on the sign that you tweeted the picture out on our ATB Wrestling account earlier?
My other CM Punk sign got confiscated.
That's
what it says on the sign.
That is so awesome. That's something that Sign Guy would come up with. That's just brilliant stuff. And that happened to get on TV, and I'm sure they weren't very happy about it.
No.
Any mention of CM or PUNK or whatever letters that have anything to do with CM Punk, Chicago, whatever, WWE does not want it on their programming anymore.
That is a no-no
at
word.
all. And you could hear them visibly muting the crowd last night.
Mm-hmm.
Visibly muting the crowd. That makes absolutely no sense. Audibly muting the crowd. So Triple H and Stephanie come out, and they announce that Daniel Bryan will take on Randy Orton later in the night, and saying that Daniel Bryan, if he wins, could be the new face of WWE. And that enrages Randy Orton. He goes into one of his special places. And he's not very happy about it. And then to top it off, the icing on the cake, the cherry on the sundae, Triple H, like the great troll he is, leads the crowd in a yes chant.
The crowd bought it.
The crowd bought it. They went with it.
They stopped their CM Punk chant.
Exactly. That's
chant.
probably exactly what it was for. It was for Triple H to mute the crowd saying CM Punk and start getting them back into the yes chant. And it worked. It was loud, and it was awesome. Because just a few weeks ago, Daniel Bryan and Triple H had a little confrontation in the ring.
Yes, it did.
And it didn't even look like he even had a remote chance of leading into this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, Triple H is on his side, maybe, quote-unquote. We're doing air quotes, but you can't see that. But now he's leading the crowd into yes chant, and it's just... What a turnaround from Royal Rumble.
I know.
That major rewrite that they had.
Major rewrite.
Sunday into this, not this past Monday, but the Monday before that. So after the opening segment, we had The Shield versus Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio, and Big E Langston. couple of notes I had here. It was just on the finish. I had Ambrose tagged himself in after Reigns hit the Superman punch and was setting up for the spear, and Ambrose ends up pinning Big E Langston.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Are they going to break up soon?
Oh, I mean, it's... Ambrose seems to be really getting under Roman Reigns' skin here.
I can't wait till they tear each other apart.
That's going to be awesome.
I love them together, but it's just going to be so much fun to watch them tear each other apart.
The real question is now with Ambrose and Roman Reigns kind of going at it, where does that leave Seth Rollins?
Sadly, the mid-card.
Zack Ryder land?
I hope not.
God, I hope not. He's too much
I
of a
hope
talent to end up in Zack Ryder land. The Wyatts show up on the Titantron. Yes, Lee, it's called the Titantron.
Titantron. I wrote it down.
Good job. High five.
Or high five.
The Wyatts show up on the Titantron, and what do they tell the Shield to do? Run. End of story. That's all you have to say.
Run.
Perfect.
Run.
I mean, just the one word, it says it all. And it's going to be an awesome match at Elimination Chamber. I cannot wait. I'm not even 100% sure if I'm going to order it, to be honest with you. But I'll find a way to watch it somehow.
Yeah, there's different links online.
I just really wish the WWE Network was starting before Elimination Chamber, because then I would definitely be watching it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but
the night after or something like
the
that.
Elimination Chamber pay-per-view or No Way Out or whatever they used to call it was the pay-per-view between Rumble and WrestleMania. It just never really appealed to me.
Mm-mm.
The last time I got the pay-per-view in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania was when it was Triple H and Cactus Jack Hell in a Cell. And I believe that
was a while ago.
I believe that was 2000.
Yeah.
And I think I got it as a birthday present because my birthday is
14
February
years ago.
25th, and I think it was on the 27th or something like that. But, just, yeah. Elimination Chamber, it's just one of those filler pay-per-views. There's essentially 2.5, almost 3 months in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, so they got to have something in the middle of there. There's only so many 6-man tag matches on Raw you can have every single
5,
week.
6 maybe.
Yeah. Teddy Long would be so proud.
Yeah, where is he anyway?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Sitting-
Holla-holla-hulling somewhere.
He's sitting on his couch just saying that it is TV now.
Probably. Playa.
Yep.
Up next on Raw, there was Cody Rhodes and Goldust against the New Age Outlaws and in a steel cage for the WWE Tag Team Championships. I didn't have too many notes on this. I don't know about you.
All I wrote were CM Punk chants,
Yep.
moonsault from
Which happened
Cody.
throughout the night. The CM Punk chants.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
These people got to realize that it's not going to do anything. CM
not.
Punk is gone.
Mm-hmm. He's
gone until Vince McMahon is able to come to.
And then they'll create a storyline from him leaving,
right,
transitioning back onto wrestling. So,
and like I was saying earlier when before the podcast started, I would love to see CM Punk come back in about 6 months and have long hair and this gross looking beard and come back almost like the straight edge society CM Punk, the Jesus Punk, yes, and be a super duper heel, because that's what he was best at.
He was a
super heel. The whole lead up to Punk Undertaker at WrestleMania last year was some of the best heel work I've ever seen. I mean, obviously Paul Heyman had a lot to do with it. The Paul Bearer death had a lot to do with it. But CM Punk at his best is being a heel.
One of my favorite moments is him being a heel. When he went after Rey Mysterio's daughter.
Oh, God.
Singing happy birthday to her.
Poor Rey Mysterio. I mean, between his daughter and his son with the whole Eddie Guerrero storyline way back in the day.
Who's Dominic's father.
Yeah. Who thought of that?
I don't know.
Oh.
Great story writing, though.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a SmackDown in Worcester and actually sat front row for that show. And it was really awkward, the confrontation between Ray and Eddie, because Dominic was there.
It's an episode of Maury.
Pretty much. Open the big manila envelope and
Who's the
Rey
father?
Mysterio, you are the father. and then he goes and does the 619 in celebration.
Yeah.
Anyway, way off topic there. So the Cody Rhodes Goldust versus New Age Outlaws for the tag team titles in the steel cage. Cody had so far probably the moment of 2014 with the ridiculous moonsault off the top of the cage, aiming for Road Dogg, kind of just grazing him.
Didn't catch him.
Took a nasty spill to the canvas.
I hope he's all right.
I hope he's all right too. I mean, Cody's a hell of a talent. But Billy Gunn took advantage, hit the Famouser, and the New Age Outlaws retained the tag titles. And Goldust and Cody went on their way without the gold. Up next, we had God, like we were talking about before. These segments are just so useless. Even though it was debuting Emma, who is beautiful, by the way. I love her. I'm a big fan. And I love the accent. I can't wait till she starts talking. So this was a dance-off. Santino was in the ring with Fandango and Summer Rae. Santino, quote-unquote, picked somebody from the crowd.
It was like how Santino debuted.
Funny that you say that.
Yeah. I was just thinking
it came
about
full
that.
circle.
Yeah.
I remember that when Vince McMahon picked Santino out of the crowd to face Umaga for the Intercontinental Championship.
And he won it right off the
won
bat.
in Italy, and it was like the craziest pop ever. But yeah, getting back to Emma's debut, Santino, quote-unquote, randomly picked her from the crowd, although everybody knew who Emma was at that point, with her signs, Emma Lucian, Emma Taining, Emma Fabulous, Emma Awesome.
Emma whatever.
Emma whatever, exactly. That's what her next sign should say.
Yeah.
Hashtag Emma whatever. Or hashtag Emma fill in the blank.
Yes.
And it was a dance-off, and Summer Rae did her normal ballroom dancing routine, and Emma did something I haven't seen
What did we say it was?
since my father at my aunt's wedding.
Yeah.
That bad.
Walk like an Egyptian sideways.
Exactly. She was doing the. I wish you could see Lee and I right now. We're doing the walk like the Egyptian, like hands out to the side, almost like we have wings. It was one of the worst dance moves I've ever seen. But you knew Emma was going to win because that's how those segments go. The heel never wins, even though Fandango and Summer Rae are far better dancers, even though they're not really that good anyway.
I think Santino's a better dancer than Fandango.
He might be.
Well, Fandingo.
Or Fandango. Say it right.
No, it's
Say it
Fandingo.
right, say it right, or he won't fight.
That's what Santino calls it, Fandingo.
Did he call her Summer Day too?
Summer Day.
Santino's one of the best mic workers in the entire company. I don't know how he switches these names around, but they're so hilarious. I can't remember some of the other good ones, but John Cena, I think one was a good one.
Yep.
But Santino's great, but that's really all he's good for is comedic segments now. I saw a funny tweet. I forget who it was. I wish I could give you credit. But somebody said when this segment was coming on, quote unquote, and now for the comedic stylings of Santino Marella and parentheses unintentionally Fandango. I thought that was great. This segment was similar to when Jim Ross was in a dance contest with Michael Cole in Boston a few years back, which I unfortunately saw live. I believe it was the same episode as Raw Gets Rocked when Rock came back to Boston for the first time with that epic speech. That gave me chills and still does to this day. So enough about the dance segment because it's enough.
Emma is a great wrestler. She's not a great dancer.
I love how they threw it in there too because it seemed like it was a random choice from the crowd, and then Santino was like, "Oh, everybody knows Emma. She's from NXT."
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And then everybody's like, "What's NXT?"
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like the majority of WWE fans don't really know or watch NXT. The people who like Lee who are very interested in seeing who's coming up from the minor leagues, if you will, to the big roster.
I gotta download it or watch it on Hulu Plus.
You gotta pay for Hulu Plus.
It sucks.
I'm just gonna wait till WWE Network comes out and see my brother from another mother, Adrian Neville.
Yeah.
fight in the NXT Championship match. I'm looking forward to that.
Bo Dallas.
What happened to Bo Dallas?
I don't know. I hate him.
Oh God, he's
He's a good heel.
He was a one-hit wonder.
Everyone hates him.
He was a one-hit wonder last year. He appeared in the Royal Rumble, had a big win on Raw. Who was the win over? Do you remember?
Wade Barrett.
That's right. You're right.
How does Wade Barrett lose those matches?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not even sure, to be honest with you.
That's why he's on a huge podium now.
God, talk about bad segments. I mean, anytime you hear the just incessant banging on the stage, it's just like, wait, enough. Order in the court, you only bang it 3 times.
Yeah.
And then you give your spiel on, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. That was terrible. That was terrible. And yes, it is on the podcast. I'm not going to edit that out. But that was one of the worst impressions I've ever done in my entire life. Anyway, skipping over Bad News Barrett because he's not worth talking about. What do you know? Another 6-man tag match. We got Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, and Xavier Woods versus the Wyatt family. What happened in this match?
Nothing.
Exactly.
It was a "We Want Ziggler" chant.
Yep.
And then the Wyatts killed Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, Dolph had a great showing, as he always does, and selling all these moves, but he ended up being on the wrong end of a clothesline from Harper and a pretty vicious Sister Abigail from Bray, and that was the end of him. He was toast after that. I mean, there's no other word to describe what happened to Dolph Ziggler. And unfortunately, after his epic promo that we played for you earlier on SmackDown, it didn't seem to have the results he was looking for from that promo.
No, I don't think so.
Hopefully sometime soon, because somebody needs to step up in the absence.
Maybe this year sometime.
Well, I hope so. I mean, Christ, he started as Nikki in the Spirit Squad, and then
Let's not talk about that.
And then he was, wasn't he Chavo Guerrero's caddy when he was Kerwin White? I think his name was. So Dolph's had some awful roles in WWE, but he's finally found his niche. The fans love him, not quite to the extent that they love Daniel Bryan, but the fans appreciate Dolph Ziggler. Mm-hmm. They appreciate the work that he does in the ring, and you and I can attest to it. What the crowd was like at WrestleMania. I mean, the Raw after WrestleMania last year. The entire Raw, we want Ziggler the entire time. And then he cashed in, and I've never heard a pop like that in my entire life.
Never. I don't think you're ever going to hear that again.
And I think the only,
unless
honestly,
CM Punk comes back.
Yeah, you might hear it then. I think the only time I've heard a pop like that, and I wasn't there live, unfortunately. I really wish I was way back in '99. It was the beginning of the end of WCW, and it was The Rock versus Mick Foley on Raw for the WWE Championship.
Yep.
Which is hands down my favorite moment in WWE history. Stone Cold's music hit, and I've never heard a crowd explosion like that. It was mind-blowing. And that match, or even just that moment, truly got me hooked into being a fan of wrestling. So moving on from Ziggler, R-Truth, Woods versus the Wyatt family, we have the main event of the evening.
We don't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, right.
From Dean Ambrose.
Oh, God, I can't believe I almost forgot about that.
Talks about how they're not scared of a haunted chair and haunted houses. And Roman Reigns says, "Playtime's over, boys."
I love Roman Reigns.
And then Bray Wyatt cuts his normal promo. "I welcome this war. Bring it to me. I welcome this war." Guy's brilliant.
God, I'm glad you interrupted me there, because that was pretty awesome.
That was pretty awesome.
Dean Ambrose is about as good as it gets on the mic.
If you've never watched him as John Moxley, you gotta YouTube it.
Absolutely. I've seen a couple of clips. I was never a huge fan of Ambrose before he came to WWE, because I didn't really know who he was, but I have seen a couple of clips of him as John Moxley, and it's pretty impressive. He's underratedly one of the best mic workers in the entire company. Did I miss anything before the main event?
Oksana and Naomi.
Skip. Did Naomi get killed again?
Yes.
What happened?
She
What
got
happened
a knee
there?
to the face.
Oh,
And it didn't
poor
look,
girl.
It didn't look good.
I mean, Christ, over the last 4 weeks, I mean, Lee and I were at SmackDown out in Worcester, and Tamina Snuka almost killed her twice. They edited one of them out of the show.
Mm-hmm.
The second one. The first one was she fell on her neck. I thought they would edit that out too, but
Yeah, I noticed that.
because that was botchamania. But the poor girl, I mean, she's got to have her face on Total Divas. You can't be kicking her face in.
I mean, at least she got married before that happened.
This is true.
So
This
all
is
the
true.
wedding photos, she doesn't have like this big swollen eye.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on from that match, because I mean, unfortunately, I'd love to see the Divas matches get better as we go along. But right now, it's just kind of like the filler. It's almost like a designated bathroom break for the live crowd, and I hate saying that because I'm not sexist at all.
It's true though.
But it's true, and
It's
Leah will
true.
say it herself. It's just,
Sadly, it's
you
true.
hear a Divas match or Divas music come on, you're just like, oh, time to pee.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You better pee quick too, because
right,
it's
it's
like 3
about a
minutes.
2-minute match. But I don't know. I'd love to see AJ get more ring time. I'd love to see Emma start to get ring time,
Mm-hmm.
and you could get a decent Divas division. And obviously, bring Paige up from NXT as well.
They should have Summer Rae.
Summer Rae too. She was, not many people know this, but Summer Rae is a tough chick.
She is. She's really
She-
good in the ring.
She played in the Lingerie Football League.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of you guys know that, but you could find her real name on Google. I forget what it is off the top of my head,
I have no idea.
but I think it's like something Moyne or something like that. But you can find her, and you can see her in action on YouTube in the Lingerie Football League, and she's a hard hitter.
Mm-hmm.
And never mind what she can bring to a WWE ring. I'm tired of seeing her dance around in these beautiful dresses, and granted, she looks amazing, but it's not her, and she needs to get that wrestling side onto WWE TV instead of just being Fandango's valet.
Agreed.
I mean, you never saw Miss Elizabeth get into the ring because she wasn't a wrestler.
Nope.
She was strictly a valet.
Arm candy.
Exactly. Even people like Maurice or Candice Michelle, I mean, back in the day, and they were decent in the ring, but none of them were ever crazy good. But those are the ones that somehow got into the ring. You don't see Lita's anymore. You don't see Trish Stratus anymore. You don't see Karma anymore. You don't see these females that are awesome in the ring. You just see 3 minutes of screaming. And
Pretty much.
You
Pretty much.
an Irish whip, and it's like, ah! and they hit each other, and they keep screaming, then they pull each other's hair, and then a couple of moves, and one of them hits a finishing move
That's
that doesn't
why-
look
yeah.
like it hurts that much.
Mhm.
They get the 3 count, music's on, game over.
That's why I can't wait for NXT to be up,
Right. And it's going to be fun to watch.
so they can finally see how the women work in wrestling. And
Exactly. Well, we're doing pretty well with time here. We still have the main event to discuss. The main event of Raw, as announced by the Authority at the beginning of the show, was Daniel Bryan against Randy Orton. After interference from quote-unquote corporate Kane.
why?
Why? Lee keeps asking the same question every week, and we haven't found an answer yet.
We're never going to get an answer.
No, and isn't there a rule of some sort that didn't they announce this?
Stephanie pulled Kane aside backstage a few weeks ago on Raw and said, "You can't put your hands on WWE superstars." It was actually at SmackDown when he put his hands on Punk, and then
That's
the
right.
Monday Night Raw afterwards,
That's right.
she pulled him aside.
Somebody's got to do something about this.
Yeah,
Maybe fire Kane. Do it. But anyways, interference from corporate Kane. Bryan was able to hit the running knee on Randy Orton and actually got the pinfall clean, which
never
getting
happens.
a clean pinfall on
It was
one
huge.
of the TV shows weekly over the WWE World Heavyweight Champion is about as rare as a good Divas match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's when I saw Bryan get the 3 count, I kind of jumped off my couch and I was pretty excited because I mean you can tell that they're clearly, because of this huge rewrite that they did after Royal Rumble, pushing the hell out of Daniel Bryan right now.
Oh yeah, they have to.
And they have to, and it's pleasing the crowd, and it's best for business. One thing I noticed, and if you're not a huge WWE fan, you haven't watched for years, I happen to notice that Kane's when he raises his hand and puts it down and the 4 ring posts blow up on fire, I happen to notice that the pyro, you can see it was taped to the ring post while Daniel Bryan was doing his one-armed yes chance, selling his arm injury, which is
it was a pretty good sell.
It was a good sell. So you had to have an inkling that it wasn't going to end well for Daniel Bryan before Raw was to go off the air, and sure enough, Bryan celebrating in the ring. Orton kind of sneaks back into the ring. Bryan kicks him out, but then Kane attacks him from behind. And Kane and Randy Orton double team attacked Daniel Bryan to close Raw. And according to a source online, what happened after Raw?
Well, because John Cena wasn't featured on Raw this week because he has an eye injury, and apparently they didn't want to show him with a swollen eye. Kane and Orton continued to beat Bryan up. John Cena hit the ring and hit Kane and Orton with an AA, and then posed for the crowd to end the show.
Interesting.
Everyone left happy, I guess, or not.
Just like we were discussing before, just to show that John Cena is human. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why, because of a black eye, he should be held off of TV. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason, especially when he's going into the Elimination Chamber match. Mm-hmm. He's still in the main event. He's not away with injury right now, and they're trying to hide him from TV. But he would appear for the crowd just to get a pop out of them.
Raw was lacking.
Raw was very much lacking.
Without Brock, Cena, Punk, Paul Heyman. I
mean, the list goes on. I mean, there's so many key players missing from this Raw. Granted, the Daniel Bryan Randy Orton match was awesome, but other than that, there was literally nothing on the 3-hour broadcast besides Cody's moonsault. There was no other real memorable moment from the Monday Night Raw.
No, there wasn't.
And unfortunately, if missing CM Punk is going to throw off WWE creative this much, then I don't know what they're going to do, because he ain't coming back anytime soon.
Yeah. Sources say that backstage that it felt weird without him there.
Yeah, so. I mean, it must have been pretty awkward, I would imagine, especially around the writers, because they've probably been working their ass off the last...
He's never happy with scripts, so...
No, but I mean, just rewriting the show in general.
Oh, yeah.
Just missing a key element, you got to change a bunch of things. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they had plans for CM Punk at Elimination Chamber. I'm sure they had plans for CM Punk at WrestleMania. I'm sure that most of those were already finalized inside the creative room. Mm-hmm. But now, with his sudden departure and no reasons why, besides the fact that he's not happy about it, supposedly having to tell the crowd that he had a concussion or something like that. I forget what I heard.
I heard something about compensation or something about money.
Because of the WWE Network?
Yeah.
Pay-per-view payouts?
Yep.
That makes sense, but...
I don't think he'd be the kind of person to just be like, I want my money.
Right. I mean, my opinion on Punk, I love the guy to death. I think he's a great performer. I think he's one of the best we've seen in a long time. And like he says, he says he's the best in the world, and he's definitely one of the best in the world. I mean, he's great in the ring. He's fabulous on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't do what he did. You don't do it.
You don't.
You sign a contract. When you sign your, I don't even know what his real name is, Phillip Brooks, right?
Yep.
When you sign Phillip Brooks on the dotted line, you're agreeing to all the stipulations above that dotted line, and there's no reason why you shouldn't have to honor those without consequence.
4 months left.
4 months. I mean, granted, his travel schedule and his appearance schedule is probably crazy.
He has some health issues going on too, so
right. I mean, I understand if you're frustrated, but be a professional. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people that are chanting for CM Punk are all idiots. He's not going to come back just because you're chanting for him, and you shouldn't be praising a guy who walked out in his company without honoring his contract. End of story. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's how I feel about it.
I completely agree.
It's completely unacceptable and very unprofessional, and I was very disappointed when you started realizing that it's not a work like he did 3 years ago. You realize that it's legit, and he's made it known he wanted to be out of wrestling by 2015, 2016, and I don't blame him, because you see guys like Jake the Snake Roberts, you see guys like Scott Hall who are holding on to this career for way too long. They got serious health issues. And I don't blame Punk at all for wanting to leave early and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But just simply honor your contract. End of story. That's all, and that's all I got to say about that. So that's going to do it for episode 2 of After the Bell podcast. Remember to follow us on Twitter at ATB Wrestling. You can follow me at Bill_Neville. You can follow Lee at WWE_LCM. Be sure to check out our all-new ATBWrestling.com, where links to listen to this podcast, future podcasts, past podcasts will be posted. Our show is also uploaded weekly to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ATB Wrestling. And until next time, I'm Bill.
And I'm Lee.
And this has been After the Bell.